everyone, we are Lawn Chair Consulting and our client is Bracketology. Today we will be going over our roles and responsibilities, the project itself, and the progress we've made on it. We will also have time for questions at the end. Our team is a strong blend of talented web developers and UX designers that work together to make this project possible. Dean is in charge of the project, Evan is the design lead, Max is the research lead, and Catherine is the web dev lead. Our project overview is that Bracketology applies fantasy sports mechanics to reality TV shows like Survivor, Big Brother, The Traders, etc. The product has two parts, a marketing website and a mobile app where the gameplay happens. The problem is that the website only explains the app, which limits traffic and conversions. Our goal is to boost engagement by increasing click-through rates and time spent on the site. Our goals for this project are threefold. First, we will help Bracketology gain traction online through content-based marketing strategies. Second, we will create the framework for supplemental interactive experiences that the company can implement in the future. And third, we will improve the site's layout and organization by applying UX and web development best practices in a restructure and redesign. The first thing we did for this project was research Bracketology. We wanted to understand the company's core needs and who their audience was. After researching motivation and how fantasy apps keep user retention, we would go on to begin ideating on potential features that would fit the needs of Bracketology as a whole. This phase would be split up into two parts, part 1 being engagement research and part 2 being a heuristic evaluation of the current site about the problems that we found. The first part of our engagement research was spent looking through Reddit posts and trying to understand how people were already interacting with their favorite reality TV shows. Our hopes for this step would be to identify something that people already do in an undesignated setting, and then create a home for that activity within the Bracketology site, in order to provide new reasons for engagement. For the second part of our engagement research, we looked into other fantasy sites in order to see what they did that Bracketology didn't do. This was one of the main advantages of having a new market for fantasy sports that was untouched by competition. We could directly transfer popular ideas such as power ranking and blog posts over to our site for easy engagement solutions. Our top solutions from our research were alliance maps and power rankings. To determine where our team could make improvements within the website, we used a UX heuristic evaluation tool. Some notable pain points we found were related to minimalist design theories, such as bloat within the drop-down menus and home pages. Another area to improve upon was with the website's consistency and standards, with margins and spacing being inconsistent throughout the entire website. We designed player cards that could be used for any reality show. These cards have a space for a colored badge to indicate tribe, head of household, or anything else important to each show. They also have a space for icons and text to communicate additional information. We developed an alliance map framework that can also be applied to many shows and allows for complicated overlapping relationships. Unfortunately, we would later run into limitations that required a pivot for this plan. Our biggest limitation was minimizing upkeep. With Bracketology's small team, new features had to run with little input. Since our sponsors have limited web experience, changes also needed to be simple and code-free. For complex features like slideshows, tutorials may be necessary. As shown on the right, we considered an alliance map, but it would require weekly updates on show activities, which is something the Bracketology team doesn't have the capacity to maintain. With Bracketology's limited staff, maintaining extra features isn't feasible. Instead, we focused on refining the current marketing site through content rework and redesign, while providing future recommendations. This led to creating page templates for our sponsors, as shown on the right. To improve the homepage experience, we removed redundant features like user testimonials and the How to Play section, which are already covered elsewhere on the site. We also restructured the layout to create a more intuitive and seamless navigation flow. We have implemented automatic scrolling carousels to emphasize eye-catching movement and improve site usability and organization. This design improves gameplay highlights from the get-go, instead of having to scroll through the page to find this information. This carousel style additionally improves web flow, particularly for mobile browser viewing, by avoiding lengthy scroll time and increasing clicks. To improve the show landing page, we made a restructured template to draw players more to the fantasy game and learn about the game in detail before downloading the app. Content about contestants and instructions about how to play are pushed to the top of the page, where they're easier to find. Adjustments for readability are incorporated throughout the page. To improve conversion and onboarding, we revamped the tutorials by breaking them into separate tabs and reducing text. This makes the game objectives clearer and encourages new users to try it. We switched the location of items such as the play games and the #1 site and the reality TV news and testimonials to have more engagement content at the top and encourage more clicks. We also resized the icon of the different shows so that they're larger, which makes them easier to read, more consistent, and aesthetically pleasing to users. Even with just these minor changes, we can see major improvements in how the site flows. Bracketology's website was initially made in a desktop format, but their recent analytics have shown that the majority of their users access the site through a mobile device. This meant we needed to add a mobile-friendly version of some of their web pages. We've made mock-ups of their web pages that emphasize mobile readability and current mobile website trends. For our final deliverables, the UX team will work on designing recommendations for an immaculate grid game as asked of us by our sponsors. We will create prototypes for future implementation when Bracketology is able to add features that require upkeep. As for the web team, we redesigned templates, improved mobile layout, and integrated WordPress with documentation for easy updates. A key lesson was proactive client communication, as there were some misalignments along the way, but we resolved it to ensure our designs directly support their business goals, like improving engagement and conversion rates. This concludes our presentation, and we sincerely thank you for your time and attention. We will now use this time to answer any questions you may have.